Golf legends broke their silence on the 2025 Ryder Cup, and what they revealed was shocking.
Yeah, I had a different philosophy as far as being a captain of this team. It takes 12 players to win.
The event at Bethpage Black became a nightmare of bad behavior and broken traditions. American fans crossed lines that should never be crossed.
Shut the f*** up.
And for the first time ever, US players were paid a big stipend to compete. But here's the twist. This wasn't just about rowdy crowds or money. It was about something much deeper. Golf's most respected voices stepped forward to say that American golf had lost its way. The shame they felt was real, and their words hit hard. The problems started immediately. Rory McIlroy became the main target of American fans, who shouted nasty insults at him throughout the event. The abuse got so bad that McIlroy had to step away from putts because of crowd noise. He even had to tell fans to shut up, using language you don't usually hear on a golf course. The fact that a professional player felt forced to respond this way shows how out of control things became. But the worst part wasn't just the verbal attacks. Tournament officials had to bring in extra security, including police dogs, to manage the chaos. This kind of response is almost never seen in golf. It's usually saved for dangerous situations. The presence of law enforcement with trained dogs proved that officials considered the environment unsafe. Other European players faced similar treatment. Shane Lowry dealt with intense verbal abuse that got so heated his caddy had to physically hold him back from confronting a fan. The atmosphere felt more like a wrestling match than a golf tournament. Fans yelled during backswings, cheered when players missed shots, and created constant noise. One person described it as having a WWE type feel. This kind of behavior destroys the quiet respect that golf requires. Players couldn't focus on their skills because they were too busy dealing with hostility. Then things got even worse. After Saturday's round, someone threw a drink at Rory McIlroy's wife, Erica.
The beverage hit her hat. McIlroy later said that family members should be off limits in competition, but at Bethpage, they clearly weren't. This attack on a player's spouse crossed from competitive rivalry into personal harassment. It showed that some fans had completely abandoned basic decency. If you're thinking this sounds unbelievable, you're not alone. Hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below telling us what you think about fan behavior at golf events. Should there be stricter rules? The PGA of America made things worse through its own failures. An official event announcer resigned after being recorded leading a vulgar chant against Rory McIlroy. When event staff participate in abuse, it sends a message that this behavior is acceptable. It gives the mob permission to act even worse. The leadership response was all over the place. PGA of America CEO Derek Sprague condemned the behavior and promised to apologize personally to the McIlroys. He admitted the conduct was disrespectful and inappropriate, but U.S. captain Keegan Bradley defended the fans, calling them passionate. He even suggested that European fans in Rome had been pretty violent too. PGA president Don Ray downplayed the whole situation. This mixed messaging showed that leaders couldn't agree on basic moral boundaries. Some wanted to apologize, while others wanted to defend the chaos. But wait, there's another side to this story that makes everything even more complicated. The U.S. team received payment for competing in the Ryder Cup. Each of the 12 American players got $500,000 total. While $300,000 went to charity, the remaining $200,000 was a direct stipend that players could use however they wanted. The PGA of America said this payment was fair because players sacrificed time and energy they could spend earning money on the tour. But this decision changed everything. The Ryder Cup had always been about honor, not money. By paying players,
the PGA of America turned the event into a paid job. It killed the amateur spirit that made the Ryder Cup special. European players saw things very differently. Darren Clarke, a European golf icon, said he was 100% uncomfortable with the US payment arrangement. He argued that the event is not about money. European players would live and die just to make the team. This difference reveals a huge divide. Europeans focus on pure competition and team unity. They don't need money to motivate them. The US decision changed how people viewed American players. It made them look like they were playing for paychecks instead of national pride. It introduced a business element that hurt the event's historic purity. This payment controversy connects directly to another scandal. In the previous 2023 Ryder Cup, Patrick Cantlay went without a hat in Rome. Rumors spread that he was protesting because players weren't getting paid directly. Cantlay denied denied it, saying his hat didn't fit. But the story stuck. People started thinking the US team cared more about money than glory. When the $200,000 stipend was introduced in 2025, it only made things worse. Even though Cantlay wore a hat this time, fans couldn't stop talking about money. European fans mocked the US team for their perceived greedy attitude. Later, hostile American fans used the same theme. The payment created a harmful cycle where money talk enabled more hostility. These two problems are not separate. They're connected parts of one bigger issue. The Ryder Cup has become too focused on making money and creating spectacle. It's turned into what some people call the Super Bowl of golf. This marketing naturally attracts a general sports audience. These fans are used to the loud, hostile environments of football or basketball. They expect a WWE-type atmosphere. This cultural shift makes aggressive behavior seem normal. If the event is marketed as pure drama and high-stakes entertainment,
fans start viewing players as highly paid performers. They see the players as people whose service is already compensated. This view makes fans less willing to follow golf's unique expectation of quiet respect. When US players like Colin Morikawa called for absolute chaos before the event, and Captain Bradley defended hostile fans as merely passionate, they created an environment where bad behavior was not just accepted, but encouraged. The lines between enthusiasm and harassment became blurred. The financial stipend made things even worse. Fans knew the US players were getting paid well. This knowledge gave them ammunition. It provided what felt like a moral license to heckle players about money versus heart. The aggressive insults became tied to the idea that the US team lacked the pure desire shown by their European opponents. The stipend was supposed to solve a financial problem, but instead, it created a severe cultural crisis. The PGA of America failed on multiple levels. They chose to host the event at Bethpage Black on Long Island, a course known for rowdy fans. Yet security was not prepared for the sustained abuse. Officials had to rush in state police and security dogs. After the event, the institutional response lacked unity. CEO Derek Sprague gave the necessary apology and said the behavior crossed the line, but the president and captain minimized the crisis. This contradiction suggests the organization is stuck in a terrible position. They have to apologize for the horrible incidents, but they also benefit from the high-drama atmosphere that brings in money. Real accountability would mean choosing cultural integrity over short-term commercial spectacle. Now here's where the golf legends come in. The most powerful critiques came from respected figures who acted as moral guardians. Tom Watson, a two-time US Ryder Cup captain and golf legend, publicly apologized to the European team. He said he was ashamed of the rude and mean-spirited behavior.
Watson's words carried huge weight. As someone deeply connected to the sport's history, his declaration that he felt ashamed was a direct statement that the behavior embarrassed American sportsmanship. It violated the respect that golf should represent. His authority made his apology an official acknowledgement that the toxicity was inexcusable. The fact that the most respected voice of American tradition admitted moral failure says everything. Ian Poulter, a European Ryder Cup legend, delivered another crushing critique. He called the fan behavior ugly and warned that the stakes went far beyond the score. He declared that the game of golf lost today. Poulter transformed this from just crowd noise into a threat to the sport's dignity. Before the event, he had predicted the hostile environment. He labeled specific fan chants as embarrassing stupidity. He mocked the pointless shouting of "get in the hole" on long shots. His consistency showed that this problem wasn't sudden. It was the result of growing tolerance for toxicity that the PGA of America failed to stop. Greg Norman added another perspective. Despite his role with Live Golf, he saw the Bethpage incident as the extreme endpoint of a trend in US golf culture. He noticed how loud crowds and excessive noise have become normal at US tournaments. At Bethpage, he said fans were opening their mouths too much. Norman placed the disaster in a wider context of sports maximalism, where atmosphere sacrifices golf's unique standards for aggressive sports entertainment. He suggested the chaos was a twisted version of missing intensity in golf. It replaced genuine team support with personal verbal abuse. Together, these legends revealed a deep divide. Past masters want lasting etiquette. Current US players and organizers have chosen spectacle and money over cultural responsibility. The events at Bethpage Black have caused lasting damage without serious institutional change.
This toxicity will become the new norm. normal for US team events. The biggest risk is that rude and mean-spirited behavior becomes accepted. If American golf leadership keeps defending or downplaying targeted harassment, the event's global reputation will be permanently changed. This could scare away players and their families who worry about safety. It could hurt the quality of future US teams. Rory McIlroy called for golf to be held to a higher standard. This serves as a direct challenge to the PGA of America to stop treating the Ryder Cup as just professional entertainment. Moving forward, existing policies must change. The PGA of America needs to create and enforce a real zero-tolerance policy. This must include immediate and permanent removal from the venue for any fan who harasses players or families. The organization must also punish any official or staff member who participates in abuse. Without removing this institutional support for bad behavior, any apology means nothing. The payment model should be reviewed too. The $200,000 stipend has failed to create goodwill. Instead, it serves as a permanent symbol of the US team's perceived focus on money. It gives fans a constant reason for resentment. The 2025 Ryder Cup at Bethpage Black represents a major institutional failure for the American side. The pursuit of commercial spectacle, strengthened by player compensation, has undermined the event's core values. It led to an environment defined by constant verbal and even physical harassment of visiting players and their families. The US leadership apologized for the behavior, while also defending the passion that caused it. This confirms a deep crisis in governance. The shame Tom Watson publicly declared remains the most accurate measure of the American cultural and ethical failure. So, where does golf go from here? The answer depends on whether the PGA of America chooses tradition over money. If they prioritize the spirit of the game instead of maximum commercial gain, the Ryder Cup can recover. But if they continue down this path, the chaos of Bethpage Black will permanently stain the event. Before you go, make sure you're subscribed and leave a comment sharing your thoughts on how golf should handle fan etiquette in the future. The sport's future depends on getting this right.